Welcome to the Highlights from Ukraine podcast, your daily audio summary of the latest news reported in the Ukrainian media. We would really appreciate if you could give us a 5-star rating and leave a glowing review in the app where you are listening to this podcast. My name is Artem, and here is the news. 246 days less the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Yesterday, Russian President Vladimir Putin gave an extensive speech at the International Discussion Club Valdai meeting in Moscow, reports Ukrainska Pravda. Putin, who started the war of aggression against Ukraine, said that it is allegedly a collective West in recent years that has taken a number of steps to aggravate the situation and that sooner or later the West will have to start an equal conversation with Russia. He blamed Western countries for taking a number of steps towards escalation and denying the sovereignty of countries. Putin stated that Ukraine was created as an artificial state, that Lenin and Stalin created it and gave it its territories. The Russian president believes that only Russia could be the guarantor of Ukraine's integrity and sovereignty as it created today's Ukraine. Answering the question about what is the plan for the war in Ukraine, Putin only said that the aim of the war is to help the people living in the Donbas region of Ukraine who speaks Russian. He also claimed that the war is planned by the general staff and he is not ready to talk about it in detail. Previously, CNN sources informed that the Russian dictator was giving directions to generals in the field himself, and the Russian military did not have a unified strategy on how to counter the Ukrainian defenders. Vladimir Putin stated that a nuclear attack on Ukraine would make no political or military sense. At the same time, he added that as long as nuclear weapons exist, there is a risk that they will be used. Putin stated that he personally instructed Russian Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu to call his colleagues in other countries and tell them that Ukraine is allegedly preparing to carry out a provocation with a dirty bomb, a conventional explosive laced with radioactive material. He admitted that the Kremlin didn't get the information from the security services that some incident with a dirty bomb is being prepared, but claimed that he knows approximately where the bomb is being produced by Ukraine. Vladimir Putin also claimed that Russian losses on the battlefield are up to 10 times less than Ukrainian. He did not explain why, with such a favorable for Russia ratio of losses, it still needs to mobilize 300,000 people. If before the Russian authorities tried to persuade the world that Ukraine is a Nazi state, even though it is led by the president of Jewish origin, now he said that Ukrainians are defending the looted billions that they have saved in European banks. The dictator stated that Ukrainian troops are motivated by economic considerations rather than the sovereignty or territorial integrity of Ukraine. In his evening video address, President Volodymyr Zelensky informed that Russia launched more than 30 drones against Ukraine just in the last 2 days. The air defense forces downed 23 of those drones. In addition, the Kha-59 guided air missile, 2 Kha-52 attack helicopters and another Su-25 attack aircraft were turned into scrap metal. Zelensky said that in total, during the full-scale invasion, Russia carried out 4,500 missile strikes and more than 8,000 air raids. Volodymyr Zelensky reminded that 28th of October is traditionally celebrated as the Day of Liberation of Ukraine from the Nazi occupiers. The president said that Ukrainians pay tribute to those who fought and defeated Nazism during World War II, but now they are doing it holding not flowers in their hands but weapons. Quote, "Today, preserving the memory of the exploits of our ancestors means protecting their achievements. We remember the expulsion of the Nazis, approaching the expulsion of the racists." Unquote. Today, Russia's only tactic has become terror, stressed Zelensky. Defeat is the only possible outcome of such tactics. He believes that terror became a proof of their weakness and a test of Ukraine's resilience. Yesterday, Russia continued attacks against the energy infrastructure of Ukraine, reports Focus. Due to the damage caused to one of the largest energy facilities in central Ukraine, power deficit emerged and blackouts were initiated in Kyiv, Chernihiv, Zhytomyr and Cherkasy regions. Some of the areas were without the electricity for more than 4 hours in a row. For example, the deficit in the city of Kyiv is about 30%. Chairman of the Parliament's Committee on Energy and Housing, Andriy Gerus, said that Ukrainians mostly heeded the request of energy experts to reduce electricity consumption. It decreased by 5 to 10%. The General Staff informs that the enemy is trying to hold the temporarily captured territories while at the same time not stopping offensive operations in the Bakhmut and Avdiivka directions of the Donetsk region. reports Unian. The Russian forces are shelling the positions of Ukrainian troops along the entire front line. They are actively fortifying positions on the left bank of the Dnipro River. Ukraine increased war-related expenditures for this year by almost 387 billion hryvnias, which is $10.4 billion, reports Interfax Ukraine. According to the budget, this change will be financed by borrowing on the internal financial market. Commissioner to the President of Russia on Children's Rights, Maria Lvova-Belova, claimed that she had adopted a Ukrainian child who was deported from the occupied city of Mariupol, reports Suspilne. In response, Ukraine's Ministry of Foreign Affairs has asked law enforcement agencies to open a criminal case against her, as her actions are against the norms of national and international law, which provides for the obligation of the occupying state not to change the civil status of children. If you like what we do and would like to tip us, you can now do so directly to our PayPal. Check out the link in the description to this episode for more details. And as usual, you can subscribe to our Patreon. In gratitude for your help, we will give you access to a series of exclusive episodes on wartime life in Ukraine. We call on you to demand from governments of your countries to impose the toughest sanctions possible on Russia and its citizens to stop their invasion of Ukraine.